we don't, we're actually our biggest enemy sometimes. And we're actually working against each other versus with each other. What do you see DoorDash doing? What can you share with us? Give us some insights.
GigCon 2023. In this video, this is part 1 of 2 of a conversation I had with Bentley Coop, Mr. DoorDash Diaries. We took some questions from the community and we talked about some things that are going on, the current state, customers, tipping, the future of DoorDash. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part 1 of our conversation. Here's a little footage. I'm gonna have a whole video for you guys about the whole thing in a couple of days, but this is some footage from the actual event itself. Hope you guys enjoy this conversation I had with Mr. Bentley Coop. Enjoy.
I know who Bentley is. Raise your hand. Liar, 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 liar. No, I joke. So this is one of the first channels that many of us, especially DoorDash drivers, probably was either recommended or you saw it or you know about him, right? And he's been in this space for how long now, doing YouTube?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Okay. He did a community post. Actually, I want him to tell it. Okay, I want him to kind of share the story, the idea behind it, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about the future of DoorDash and consumers and perspective and all that kind of stuff. So let me get the mic to Bentley.
How's everybody doing? All right. So I'm a little nervous. I don't know if y'all know that. Okay, so y'all gonna have to rock with me. Yeah, definitely, right? It's totally different from sitting in front of your computer or sitting in front of your phone, right? And you're recording. To actually see you guys are the reason that I'm here, right? I wanted to meet you guys. I wanted to meet the other content creators, but it was more important to meet the real gig workers, the people that are really out here delivering the food, and the people that are really supporting me. So first and foremost, I just want to thank all of you guys for showing up and give yourself a round of applause. Just really quick. All right, so like Lewis, we just gonna keep it raw, okay? So you can record it, you can do whatever you want to with it, okay? But we just gonna tell the truth. So for the last 2 years, all right, 2.5 years, it's been a battle, right? We got Dashers fighting other Dashers. We got Dashers fighting customers, right? The morale that Dashers have about the company as a whole is nowhere near where it should be, or nowhere where it was in the past, right? And the thing that me and Pedro have been talking about for a while, and what we talked about with the other content creators yesterday, is that we all want the same things, right? We all want to be paid what we think we are worth, right? But it is the path that we are taking that allows us, well, not allows us, but it's the path that we take that bumps heads, right? That's when we start to bump heads. I have been very adamant and very vocal about how I feel about confrontation, running up on customers, and how we should handle that, right? But I did not think that speaking about it was enough, right? I did not think that running my mouth was gonna get it done. So I put my money where my mouth was. I got some thank you cards that cost me $4 from Walmart. I went to the bank and I took $100 that I had made from Dashing. I got it in ones and I put it in the thank you cards. My average tip is $2, $3, $4. So that's what I put in the cards, $2, $3, and $4. With a little special message to the customers, something like, this order is not only gonna support me, it's gonna feed you, and it's gonna support your favorite local restaurant, right? And by doing this, I'm hoping to change the perception that customers have of us as Dashers, and hopefully that will put more money back in our pocket. That will get us paid for what we think we are worth. So that's the move, right? Like that's the move, because we gotta stop. We gotta change directions. It's really time to change directions, and us being here. You know what I'm saying? All of us being here, the power in numbers, right? Because that's another thing that we are facing. Everybody is pulling in opposite directions. Everybody's pulling in different directions instead of putting it together, you know what I'm saying? And moving as a force. So I think that GigCon as a whole provides that platform.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think to his point, you know, we all want the same thing. We all want to make money. We want to feel like we're being treated fair by the apps, by the customers, by fellow Dashers. Like, we want to go out and just make a living for our families and reach our goals, whatever that means. We're all betting on ourselves. Each and every one of us are betting on ourselves when we turn that damn app on. That's how I look at it, right? Because a lot of us here might have a W-2, and you turn the app on right after you work. That's how I started when I did rideshare. I would take a 10-hour day and just make it a 12-hour day, and I'm grinding. Work an extra 2 hour, trade in a little bit of sleep to make a little bit extra money, right? And money's tight for most of us, right? Like we just want to be treated fair, right? But to Bentley's point, when most consumers I think are actually really good, but it's the ones that aren't that kind of stick out. So that's why I'm like, no tips on trip. This person's miserable. Like I've said all those things, right? And I still think them and mean them sometimes, but I also have to realize that most customers are actually really good, and most of them don't even know what we really even make sometimes. Or they assume the delivery fee, all of it's going to us when only some of it does. And all of it might go to us if it's turned down enough, or the base pay can go from $2 to $9. I've had $9 base pay on a McDonald's, and there was no tip, and there was no peak pay. We've all had something similar, right? But I think for us, it's about connecting, getting together, and figuring out like, how are we more similar than different? Because we, as YouTube content creators, as dashers, in a comment section, in a Reddit, in a Facebook, we're really good at, I don't like what he just said, or I don't like what Trader just did. You know what, Pedro's a clown, he ain't making no money. We're really good at being negative with one another. We don't have enough positivity sometimes. We need a little more kindness is always free, like Kim Side Money Price says. We need a little more of that, because if we don't, we're actually our biggest enemy sometimes. And we're actually working against each other versus with each other. And this gig economy is going to continue to grow. A lot of us will continue to do these apps, in my opinion, even after you've reached your financial goals or whatever. You're still going to have them on, and you might do them part-time, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, because there's still value in that. But if we continue to beat at the customer too much, they'll stop tipping us. I think some of us are seeing that in some markets based on what I see and what you guys tell me in some comments, right? So it's a battle. It's tough. We just, we want to make good money. The apps are ever changing. Delivery TV mentioned, hey, these programs, the Gold, Platinum, Top Dash, or this, that. Listen, the apps are changing. I think most of us can kind of realize that, right? So when do we figure out like, hey, I want to try this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be an employee, I don't want Top Dash is good, this program's good, this program's bad. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I think the best we can do is do what works for you, continue to try to adapt, try different apps, don't settle, know your worth, like Sergio always says, know your worth. Don't feel like you gotta settle and do something because of somebody else's opinion, or because I said you should do this, or Bentley said you should do that. You gotta make it work for you, right? I do have a question though. 5 years from now, state of DoorDash, give me your best guess. Do you think we're still going to be working an app in a similar way? Do you think there will be a lot of changes? Because 5 years can go by like that. Where do you see DoorDash doing? What can you share with us? Give us some insights.
5 years from now. I look, as I draw a blank, right?
1 year. Give me 1 year. What do you think?
To be honest, okay, so I think that we're at a pivotal point, right? And I think that over the next year or two, I don't think it's DoorDash. I think it's the drivers, right? I think it's the drivers coming together as a whole, right? I think in order, like to your point, if we're trying to do something, we need to take what's already worked, right? What we've seen work, Proposition 22, what they got going on in New York, right? We need to come together like they are.
And get positive things.
And not even
positive legislation?
So this is what, for me, this is what I want. I want us to start to really quantify what these words mean, right? So what is positive, right? What is a good order? What is a bad order, right? What is the experience that we're looking for? And I think that needs to be defined over the next year and a half or 2 years.
And that could be different for different people. And my order could be, Red might be like, hey, if I'm on DoorDash, it's $10 minimum. Tony's like, if I'm DoorDash, I'm doing only LLPs maybe. Whereas me, it's like, I'll do $6 for a mile every day of the week. Right. If it's from a good merchant, but somebody else might have a different experience with that. Right. You know?
Right. But yeah, so I think that the focus is on the dashers. I think the focus is on increasing the morale, right? Getting back to the good old days. It was one point in time where everybody was sending out memes to their customers. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Right? So it was like if you were running late, you would send a meme to your customer, and it would be like SpongeBob or, you know, something
Just like
stupid.
2.5, 3 years ago.
Right. So we are so far from that now. You know, there's no positive interaction with our customers, and there's so few and far in between that nobody's even talking about it, right? Everybody's trying to highlight the negative. So not even 5 years. What I see from DoorDash is really nothing, no change, right? Like there's not gonna be any change, right? They are going to wait this out. They're going to wait this out. The one problem that we have with all of the gig actors is no matter how long you do this, no matter how long you're away from it, you can come back to it, right? So you leave Walmart, you're done, you're fired, you have to reapply, right, in order to get that job back. But if you stop dashing for 3 months, you stop dashing for 6 months, 9 months, and then you decide that you want to get back in, right, you can get back in. Yeah. And I think that, that personally, because I don't want to speak for DoorDash, but I'll speak for me, I think dealing with that issue would help with oversaturation, right? So in my mind, right, it's just my mind, don't beat me up, but it's a situation where you haven't dashed in 90 days. You haven't dashed in 120 days, right? Okay, so let's do a voluntary deactivation, right? Everybody hates the word deactivation, so let's call it something else.
But if you're not active on it,
let's call it a voluntary withdrawal.
Yeah.
Okay, right? So we'll call it a voluntary withdrawal, all right? And then when you decide that you want to do it, okay, because you're burnt out, you've already taken all of these $2 orders, okay? You've already driven 12 miles all day long, all right? So once you get out of that feeling, once you get out of that zone, and you want to reapply, if you can, right? If there's space in your zone, in your market, then you can come back in, right? Like that's what I see. I think that helps with oversaturation. I think that helps with burnout, right? And I think that gives people that inspirational motivation to actually want to do the job, as opposed to what we have now, where it's like, it's Wednesday, I get paid Friday, I got $15 in my name, right? But I know I can go out and DoorDash for 2.5, 3 hours, I can make $40, and then that'll get me till Friday, right? Because I'm gonna use FastPay. Now the whole time I'm out there, I'm talking trash, right? These customers, I don't wanna take this order, I don't wanna take that order, right? I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm screenshotting the orders, I'm putting them in the Facebook group, right? And we're doing all of this, and it's like, you're not even really a dasher, right? The only reason you're here is so you can have lunch and gas to get to work tomorrow, right? And then the perception of the dashers that have 10,000 deliveries, that are traveling the country, you feel me, right? You're messing up, you're messing that up for them, right? And I think that we gotta, and there again, I think that's why this is big, but I think we get to come together, we get to circle the wagons, and I think as a whole, right, we get to figure out what we want to do, the quality, the standard of quality that we want to set, right, and that we want to hold not only ourselves to, right, but other content creators and our communities as well. So I think that's the first step. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate the transparency there. You know, I think it's, you know, it's fun. Like this kind of work, man. We all have different. It's funny because we have similar experiences in the car. Like you guys have seen my videos. I'm sitting in the car. I'm like, you know, when Pedro gets mad, like the hair starts getting crazy. I get the look of mine, I'm like, oh, and I lose it. But I keep recording, right? Well, you guys have all had that moment. Everybody. Bentley's had it sometimes, maybe less than me, but like we've all had this moment, like, oh, I don't want to be out here in my car right now. Like, but we gotta do it. A lot of us, you know, we're living. Most dashers are that day to day, week to week, right? We're just trying to grind, and you know, I appreciate this conversation. I do want to. Don't be shy, y'all. Anybody got questions? We got Bentley Coop and Pedro DoorDash Santiago up here, right? You guys got questions for us? Something you want to ask? The state of DoorDash? Anybody? Okay, I see a hand. What's up?